society.
What's up, everybody? This is Alex Fisch. I'm back again with another Fish's Friday rant. And just to start things off like we usually do, if you leave a rating and a comment in our iTunes page, we will feature you on these videos. I will have a screenshot of your rating and your comment. It'll be portrayed somewhere in this screen area. And I'll give you a shout out and we'll read the comment, whatever it is. And yeah, so you will be on the next video if you rate and comment on our iTunes page. Also, if you like our videos, if you like our podcast, whatever it is, share it with at least one friend, just one person. You know, it gets the ball rolling for us to develop even more content, because then we know what you guys like, we know what you guys don't like, and more people will come around and start, you know, asking if we can do a highlight video on this guy, or if you want me to rant about something specific, you can leave comments below and I can get that on the next episode, things like that. So just share this with one friend, at least one friend, if you enjoy it and you think someone else will as well. So let's jump into this. We are going to talk about DeRozan possibly going to the Lakers. We're going to talk about Dwight possibly going to the Mavericks. We will also talk about if it's possibly the last season for Duncan and Ginobili. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Thunder and then the Thunder Warriors matchup. So, there was a report out today that apparently DeRozan really wants to go to LA. He really wants to wear that purple and gold. And, you know, he wants to put on for his hometown team. If you don't know, he's from Compton, so he is from that area. And obviously everyone has the dream of, you know, playing professionally in front of all their hometown fans, in front of their family, in front of their friends, all that kind of stuff. It's always like a little kid's fantasy when they first start playing basketball and everything, and they start getting serious about it. So we've seen a lot of people do. We've seen, LeBron, obviously the biggest example. And our own writer, Fonzie, he wrote a little piece on if DeRozan is a good fit for the Lakers. Now, personally, in this free agent class, I still think Batum would be a better target to go for. And obviously Kevin Durant would be a better target to go for as well. And they probably will go for Kevin Durant because, you know, why not? You might as well just shoot your shot. If you miss, then okay, you missed. At least you tried. But, you know, I guess DeRozan would be a decent consolation prize. But there still is the whole fact that, you know, they still have Russell. They still have Clarkson. They still have... they still have guys like Lou Williams and Nick Young and other people like that. I'm not saying that Nick Young and Lou Williams are better than DeRozan or that they would start over DeRozan or anything like that. But ideally for the Lakers, I'm pretty sure you would want a starting backcourt of Russell and Clarkson. I think that your potential is a lot higher with guys like Russell and Clarkson as your starting backcourt as compared to Russell and DeRozan or Clarkson and DeRozan. Obviously, both of those guys will still have their really big upsides going into this whole thing. Plus, you still have to take into account that the Lakers still have a top pick coming, possibly. If the pick lands in the top 3, they still get their own pick, and that's a top 3 talent right there that could possibly be added. Like they could get a guy like Ingram, they could get a guy like Buddy Hield, someone like that who could also take the 2 or 3 spot. So there's still a lot playing into this as far as like the draft goes, and they still have said, you know, they might be trading for Paul George or somebody like that if they do get like that number 1, number 2, or number 3 pick. So personally, I do not think that DeRozan is really the best way to go for the Lakers. I think there are better options out there. I think that when you're drafting a guy like Ingram or someone like that, that in the long run he will probably be better for them than getting DeRozan now, who is playing into the later stages of his prime. He's about 26, 27, I believe. And so this contract will take him through the thick of his prime, whatever contract he gets now. He'll probably get like 4 or 5 years. And this will take him through the big part of his prime. And then, he'll be into his early 30s. And then you don't know what he's going to be like. On top of that, you are watching these postseasons that DeRozan has had, and if you're a team trying to build for a championship success, then you don't really want to you don't want to have to depend on a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Now, if you have DeMar DeRozan as like a third option, that could be a really big game changer. But the thing is, they don't have that number one, number two option yet. They still have all these young guys that you don't know if they're going to be a number one, number two option in Randall, Russell, and Clarkson. So, say, they do get a guy like Paul George, or they do get Kevin Durant, or somebody like that. Like say they maybe get Russell Westbrook when he's a free agent. And then you add DeMar DeRozan in there. Then that might be a very nice, solid team. But right now, if you throw in DeRozan and they just draft a few guys, they don't make any big trades or any other free agent moves, then you got DeMar DeRozan as your number one guy. And personally, I don't think DeMar DeRozan is going to take your team to high heights if he's your number one player. There's a lot of comparisons I've been seeing, and I'm agreeing with that. DeMar DeRozan is kind of like Andre Iguodala on the Sixers. The Sixers depended on him as a number one guy. He did a lot of things well, but he was not the number one option type of scorer and the type of player who's going to push you over that hump as a number one guy. Now, number three guy, six man, like Andre Iguodala's been doing for Golden State. If you have something like that going, then that could be a game changer. That can be an impact right there. But, like I've been saying, I don't think he's going to be that guy to help the team get to a championship level again as the number one guy. So there has to be a lot of other moves done, or there has to be a lot in plans, like planning to be done, before I can say that DeMar DeRozan is easily or any way going to help this team. And speaking of free agents, so apparently there is another report that Dwight Howard is on top of the Mavericks free agent list. Obviously, this shouldn't be a surprise because the Mavericks were going after DeAndre Jordan because they needed a center. They needed a guy like a center who could make an impact on defense and who could clean the boards and who could even be there on offense when needed. So Dwight Howard would be that kind of guy. Obviously, we haven't really seen Howard back into his prime days. Obviously it's not going to happen when the player keeps getting older. But Howard still has the ability to make an impact, whether it be on defense, on the boards, catching alley-oops, or going to work in the post. Whatever it may be, he still has the ability to make an impact. Is it the same impact he made when he was in Orlando and he was that number one guy and he was this crazy defensive player of the year and MVP kind of candidate? No, he's not at that level. But he is still at a good enough level that he can be your number two, number three guy as the starting center. So, obviously, this shouldn't come as a big surprise that he is on the top of the Mavericks list. And I think it would definitely benefit the Mavericks by getting a center like him. But they still also, as I've been saying with the Lakers, there has to be some more moves in there. Because you don't want to have to go an entire season again of depending on Raymond Felton and Darren Williams to kind of revitalize their career all of a sudden. That's not something you want to have to throw all your eggs in, and you don't want to throw all your eggs in that basket and be like, come on, please go back to your Utah days. For Darren Williams, you just don't want that to be going on right now. But anyway, going on to the San Antonio Spurs. When at the end of that game, when you saw Tim Duncan get blocked, man, Let's just show that real quick.
Just under 3.5 remaining. Duncan catches. Duncan blocked by Ibaka. Picked up by Westbrook. Westbrook to Durant. And the finish. Oh, a huge turnaround. Could have cut it to 9. Instead, it's back up to 13. Timeout, San Antonio.
When I saw that, I legit just felt bad for Timmy. I felt so bad for him. Like he just looked so sad and so upset, and it just kind of looked like on his face he had that like, man, I really am too old for this, and I think I might have to give it up. Like that's the kind of face that I saw when that whole thing happened, and right there I was like, it's like to end on that is just, it's like heartbreaking. After watching a guy like Tim Duncan dominate for so long, it was just tough to watch. And it's kind of like the factor of like watching Kobe just jacking up all those shots in the beginning of the year and making like 30% of them. It was along those lines of like, man, he's just a shell of himself. It's just not that great. Like this is just kind of like a pain. Like it's painful to watch because you remember him from like 5 years ago or 6, 7, 8 years ago when he was so young and lively and springy and everything, and it was terrible. And now that they're out of the playoffs again, personally, it's hard to see Ginobili and Duncan coming back. But with plans for the Spurs have plans to see what's going on with Mike Conley in free agency. They also want a meeting with Kevin Durant. Now, say you got a big three in San Antonio with Conley, Kawhi, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Don't really think that's going to really put the fear in anyone's hearts. I don't think that's really going to be a team that's like, oh my God, we got to watch out for them. It's definitely not going to even compare to the prime of when they had Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan, because at that time it was like, okay, they got 3 potential Hall of Famer kind of guys that we really need to, we have to be on our A game because they know how to pick out every single weakness. These 3 are kind of like, Conley's decent, Conley's good. Hasn't made an all-star game yet. Kawhi has been on the up and up. We all know LaMarcus Aldridge's game, but none of them have really been that like super dominant MVP level kind of player yet. So there really isn't anything that is really particularly terrifying to go up against them. But if they do get this meeting with Kevin Durant, if they do sell the team to Kevin Durant, and Durant is like all about it and he goes to San Antonio, that could be a scary team with Kawhi, Durant, and Aldridge. These 3 guys obviously can score from pretty much anywhere on the floor. And then you still have the defensive capabilities of Kawhi. Durant's not bad at defense. And you still have guys like Danny Green. Tony Parker will probably still be there. Don't know how much longer he's going to start. I don't know. But he'll probably still be there, so you still have Tony Parker. And then you got like Boban coming out there. And there's just still a lot of possibilities that team could be really scary. But that whole scenario obviously depends on what Kevin Durant wants to do in free agency. So there's a whole lot of ifs with that one as well. And to finish things off, this Oklahoma City Golden State matchup, man, this thing is going to be fun. I don't remember the last time we've seen this kind of offensive firepower in one series. Like, we might have had it in the finals last season if Love and Irving were healthy. But at the same time, this is 2 of the top 5, like, top 10 players in the entire league on Oklahoma City going up against the MVP and one of the best teams in NBA history. This is going to be really fun. Like, we're going to see Durant and Westbrook cooking like they usually do. Then we'll see Steph Curry with his ridiculous threes, and Clay and Draymond and all of them getting into this whole team ball. Like, you got the really nice team ball like club versus the dual superstar, like, just put on a show and they get theirs kind of club. That is, like, obviously, you would think, the one who plays the team basketball should win this, but we have seen how good Durant and Westbrook can be. And the Spurs are one of those teams that are like the epitome of team basketball that we have looked at for like the last decade or so, that if you want to play team basketball, you play like the Spurs. That's what we've been looking at. And they just beat them in 6. And they lost the first game by 30-something points and still won that series in 6. So we have also now seen that the Thunder are not, like, getting into their own heads after a bad loss and just letting it ruin them like we have seen before. They are coming right back at it. They are hungry for it, and they are taking it right to the opposing team. And like Westbrook and them, they really have stuff to prove, especially when it comes to facing Golden State. So with a lot of this on the line, with Golden State trying to prove that last year wasn't a fluke, with Oklahoma City trying to prove that they can get back to the finals, they can win a ring, and that Westbrook and Durant can coincide. There are so many things on the line, so many things to prove, so much firepower, so much craziness that we are going to get some must-see TV in this series. And we'll probably look at the Eastern Conference Finals like, just because this one is so top tier, top notch, like higher play, that the Eastern Conference Finals might just be like, it's cool, but when's the next Thunder Warriors game start? Like it might honestly become that, and it kind of has for a little while, like already with the Western Conference series going on over these Eastern Conference ones. So it'll probably be like super hype around Western Conference Finals, and then super hype around the finals, and the Eastern Conference Finals will probably take a back seat. They'll probably be in the trunk of the car, and then the Western Conference Finals will be in the back seat, and then the finals in the front seat. That's just how I see it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening to another episode of Fish's Friday Rant. Like I said, leave a comment, leave a rating on our iTunes page. Subscribe to our YouTube. There will be links in the show notes and on the YouTube, everything. This goes up on our podcast page, usually the Sunday or Monday after this is released, because, it's a video. You gotta watch it on YouTube first. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out our website, www.basketballsocietyonline.com. We are on Twitter at @bballsociety_. I'm on Twitter at thatkidfish. That's FISCH. So hit us up if you want me to rant on something specific next time. Let me know. Just tweet at me, DM me, tweet at our Basketball Society account, whatever. Just let me know, or in the comments on our YouTube. Either one. So thank you guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.